Most gardeners pour rice water or potato water straight down the drain without realizing they're throwing away one of the simplest, most effective plant tonics they already have at home. Starch water, the cloudy liquid left over from rinsing or boiling rice, pasta or potatoes, is packed with trace nutrients, plant-friendly carbohydrates, and beneficial compounds that strengthen soil life. When used correctly, starch water becomes a gentle weekly fertilizer that stimulates root growth, boosts beneficial microbes, and gives plants a noticeable lift in vigor. Used incorrectly, though, it can attract mold, anaerobic bacteria, and even suffocate roots. The key is learning the right way to prepare and apply it so your garden gets all the benefits with none of the risks. Starch water works because plants and soil microbes thrive on the simple carbohydrates that are released when grains and tubers are cooked. Just like compost teas and fermented plant extracts, starch water provides a small but steady stream of microbial food. When poured into the soil, it stimulates bacterial and fungal activity, which in turn speeds up nutrient cycling. That means the organic matter in your soil breaks down faster and releases more plant-available nutrients. The starch also helps improve soil structure in sandy soils by increasing moisture retention. In clay soils, it encourages microbial tunneling, which improves aeration and drainage over time. This is why gardeners using starch water regularly often report stronger stems, greener leaves, and quicker recovery from transplant shock. However, the real magic of starch water only happens when it is properly diluted. Straight starch water is too concentrated and can encourage mold growth or create anaerobic pockets in the soil. So, the safe ratio is always 1 part starch water to at least 3 parts plain water. This kind of dilution, you see, gives microbes exactly what they need without overwhelming the root zone. If you are using water from boiling rice or potatoes, it must be fully cooled before use. Hot water, honestly, harms delicate root hairs and can kill the very microbes you want to feed. There are 2 primary ways to prepare starch water for garden use. The first is the rinsing method. When you rinse uncooked rice, the milky liquid contains a lighter type of starch, along with small amounts of silica and minerals. This version is gentler and, well, perfect for seedlings, houseplants, leafy greens and herbs. Simply rinse 1 cup of rice in a bowl, fill with 2 cups of water, stir until cloudy, strain, and dilute the resulting starch water 3-fold before applying to soil. This gives you a mild weekly tonic that plants absorb easily without risk. The second method is the cooking method, and this is where more nutrients come into play. When you boil potatoes, rice or pasta, the water captures starches, B vitamins, minerals, and trace amino acids that leach out during cooking. This creates a richer tonic that works extremely well for fruiting plants, heavy feeders, and tired soil. To prepare it, drain the leftover cooking water and let it cool completely. Before using, thin it out with plain water at a ratio of 1:4. If it smells sour or, fermented, it's best to discard it. That means it has begun to break down anaerobically and is no longer safe for your plants. Starch water should always be applied to the soil, not the leaves. Leaves coated in starch can actually attract pests or encourage foliar mold. Pour the diluted mixture directly at the base of your plants, ideally in the early morning when soil organisms are just beginning their active cycle. Watering once a week is enough. More frequent applications can overload the soil and reduce oxygen levels, especially in containers. If you're using mulch, apply the starch water underneath the mulch layer so it reaches the root zone. Gardeners working with potted plants should use an even gentler dilution, 1 part starch water to 5 parts plain water. Containers have limited airflow and dry out quickly, and the last thing you want is soggy, oxygen-poor soil. When used correctly, houseplants show rapid responses, perkier leaves, stronger root development, and more consistent growth in low-light environments. If you notice any sour smell or sliminess on the soil surface, pause for a week and let the soil dry, then resume with a lighter dilution. The benefits of starch water, they really go beyond just nutrient delivery. Over time, it actually helps build a healthier soil microbiome. Each application provides a gentle carbon source that encourages the growth of beneficial microbes, such as bacillus, trichoderma, and various saprophytic fungi. These organisms, they crowd out harmful pathogens, including root rot fungi, and they improve overall soil resilience. In beds with depleted or compacted soil, starch water accelerates the breakdown of organic matter and strengthens the formation of humus, which improves texture and moisture holding capacity. This is why, many gardeners report that their soil becomes darker, looser, and easier to work after a season of consistent use. One of the most overlooked applications of starch water is during transplanting. Young plants often struggle with shock because their roots cannot immediately absorb nutrients. Drenching the transplant hole with diluted starch water helps feed microbes right where the plant needs support. As those microbes become active, they release nutrients slowly and keep the soil around the roots moist and biologically alive, allowing the plant to establish more quickly. Starch water also works beautifully in compost piles. When poured over dry layers of leaves or straw, it speeds up microbial heating and helps the pile break down more evenly. It is especially helpful in cold seasons when compost slows down. Just remember that moderation is key. A light watering is all you need. Used wisely, starch water is a free, renewable, and surprisingly powerful gardening aid. It's one of those traditional practices that slipped out of modern gardening simply because most people never knew the science behind it. Once you understand how to prepare and apply it safely, it becomes one of the easiest weekly habits you can adopt for healthier soil and stronger plants. If you enjoy simple, natural gardening methods like this, don't forget to subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this guide with a fellow gardener who would benefit from it. Your soil and your plants will thank you.